Over the last decade plus, the Chicago Bulls have been one of the worst ran organizations in the game of basketball, having made the playoffs in just 2 out of the last 10 seasons, including just one time when the organization decided to go quote-unquote all in with their big three of Nikola Vucevic, Zach LaVine, and DeMar DeRozan. And although in the modern day, this Bulls organization decided to move into a full rebuild, I still think that they are a complete and utter disaster. They lack high-end blue chip talent, especially in the backcourt, and I do not believe that this organization is going to be getting any better anytime soon, because the Chicago Bulls are a complete mess. Now, taking a look at the Chicago Bulls and what they did last season, they didn't accomplish much as they finished with a record of 39-43 as the 10th seed in the Eastern Conference, but you really got to go back to the 2024 offseason when the Chicago Bulls finally traded away longtime guard DeMar DeRozan, who was sent away in a 3-team deal with the Sacramento Kings and the San Antonio Spurs. The Bulls had acquired guard Chris Duarte, 2 second-round picks, and cash considerations. In that deal, Chicago had traded away forward DeMar DeRozan to the Kings, while Sacramento sent forward Harrison Barnes and a future first-round selection to the Spurs. You then fast forward to the NBA trade deadline, and the Chicago Bulls did not stop there. They also traded away longtime guard Zach LaVine to the Sacramento Kings in a 3-team deal. In exchange for LaVine, the Bulls had received players like Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, and Tre Jones, as well as their own 2025 first-round pick back, which they had previously owed to the San Antonio Spurs. So for the Chicago Bulls, there was a lot of retooling of this roster, trying to move forward into a full rebuild. And although they had traded away DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, they should have traded away Nikola Vucevic, who was having a terrific season last year, to his standards, even at an age 35, 36 years of age, whatever he is now. They should have been moved off of Nikola Vucevic, but that's a topic for another day. When you take a look at the 2025 offseason for the Chicago Bulls, they lost Lonzo Ball, who they ended up trading to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They lost Talen Horton-Tucker into free agency, EJ Little to the Brooklyn Nets, and Jameer Young, who ended up signing a 2-way contract with the Miami Heat. They did go ahead and re-sign restricted free agent Josh Giddey, who performed exceptionally well in the back half of last season on a 4-year, $100 million contract. They re-signed Tre Jones as well as Emmanuel Miller, but they also added in Isaac Okoro, who was brought in from that Lonzo Ball trade. They also added in fan favorite Yuki Kawamura from the Memphis Grizzlies, point guard, and if I did mispronounce that, please bear with me. I promised I'd try to do my best. Mohamed Gay, as well as their number 8 overall pick in the lottery, Noah Essengay. So now when you kind of look at the way that things have shaped up for the Chicago Bulls this offseason, when you look at that starting 5, you're going to look at Coby White, Josh Giddey, Ayo Dosunmu, Matas Buzelis, as well as Nikola Vucevic. And off the bench, you're going to have Tre Jones, Kevin Huerter, Isaac Okoro, Patrick Williams, who I am not a huge fan of, topic we'll get into later on, Zach Collins, Noah Essengay, as well as Javon Carter. Overall, is this the worst roster in the NBA? No, I would say that the Brooklyn Nets have a worse roster. Is there some talent on this roster? There is, but I do not believe that the Chicago Bulls have a single blue chip talented player on this team. I don't believe in Nikola Vucevic at an age of 36, where he's going to have a ton of trade value as he's now going into the last year of his deal. Josh Giddey proved to be a very good playmaker and a very good triple-double threat night in and night out on the back half of last season. And we saw Coby White nearly take an all-star caliber leap last year, but otherwise, and Matas Buzelis is actually a very good player. He showed a ton of promise in his rookie season. It took him a while to get going, but he really came alive in the back half of last season. I do not love this roster, and I think it is extremely formidable. Just want to take a moment to say, if you are appreciating this type of work and coverage from me, the best and easiest way to support me is by liking, commenting, and subscribing down below. It's free, and it helps me and the channel out tremendously. My goal is to get this channel up to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the calendar year, and if you guys want more exclusive content from me outside of just here on YouTube, you guys can go ahead and follow me on my socials. The links to all of them will be in the description down below. But thank you guys again, and let's go ahead and get back to today's video. So really kind of taking more of an in-depth look at some of the players that I do like on this roster. It really just does come down to Josh Giddey, Coby White, and Matas Buzelis. Starting off with Josh Giddey, if you look at the final 19 games after the All-Star break last year, Josh Giddey nearly averaged a triple-double. Giddey had averaged 21.2 points, 10.7 rebounds, as well as 9.3 assists a game. He was absolutely electric and on fire. Taking a look at Coby White, sticking in that backcourt. Coby White in those final 26 games after the All-Star break averaged 24.5 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. And if you remember that game in Orlando, I was covering the game as a former Magic reporter, and Coby White absolutely dominated the Magic in that game. Seeing the way that he attacked and approached that game up close and personal, I could see that Coby White was due for a big payday eventually when that next contract comes around. And then you also look at rookie Matas Buzelis, who I thought performed exceptionally well in his rookie year, showed a ton of promise, and I do think that Billy Donovan and him have a lot of room for growth. I do think that Billy Donovan is actually an exceptional coach. I've spoken to him on multiple occasions. He's very poised and knows exactly what he's talking about as a guy who's been around this game for an exceptionally long time. But Billy Donovan is just unfortunately in a predicament, in a situation where he truly can't flourish, and I really do feel bad for the guy. Now, those are just some of the things that I do like about this roster. Let's talk about some of the question marks and some of the bad things that I have to say about this roster. We take a look at Nikola Vucevic, who did shoot a career best 61.1% true shooting percentage last year and had the highest free throw rate attempt since he left Orlando a half decade ago for Vucevic. But unfortunately, as an aged veteran who's in the last year of his deal, you are going to have to buy low and try to trade him and get whatever assets you can before it is too late, and you have to make sure you trade him before the deadline is over. Coby White is also in the final year of his deal, and I don't believe that Coby White is going to re-sign with the Chicago Bulls. I do believe this organization is moving in a different direction. Coby White is still extremely productive, but he's also young, and he is going to demand a big payday, and I do think that Coby White is eventually going to end up leaving the Chicago Bulls. Patrick Williams out of Florida State, he is on a terrible contract. 5 years, $90 million. He's going into the second year of his deal. I have never believed in Patrick Williams. When you put the injuries aside and some of his inconsistent play, I don't think that he was a great prospect coming out of college. I don't think that he's performed to the standard to which he was drafted, and I don't think that he's deserving of a 5-year, $90 million contract. I don't think that he's the worst player out there. He has shown flashes here and there sporadically, but overall, Patrick Williams, I am not moved by him whatsoever, and I don't think that they're going to be able to keep him throughout the remainder of his contract. I do think eventually he's going to get moved. And then just overall, when you look at the Chicago Bulls, you would feel a lot better if they not only had blue chip talent, but if they had the ability with draft capital to acquire more talent, or basically draft talent and develop that talent, but they have shown an inability to do that. And then when you look at next year's draft, the Chicago Bulls have their own first-round pick, but they also have a protected pick from the Portland Trailblazers 1 through 14. And the Portland Trailblazers, to me, are going to be an exceptional, sneaky good team in the Western Conference this upcoming season. So who knows if Chicago will even get that pick. So now really taking a look overall at where I think the Chicago Bulls team is going to finish next season, and assuming health, I don't think that this is even a play-in team. I do think that they're going to finish in the bottom 5 of the Eastern Conference. I don't think that they're better than the Bucks, the Cavs, the Magic, the Sixers, the Heat, the Hawks, the Raptors. Hell, even the Hornets, I think, are a better team than the Chicago Bulls. And I don't think that even a banged up Celtics team is going to be better than them. And of course, the Detroit Pistons. Those are just some of the names off the top of my head. I do think that Coby White, Matas Buzelis, and Josh Giddey are all promising young players, but I don't think that it is high-end blue chip talent that ideally you'd like to centerpiece your franchise around and build around. Those are just my thoughts on it. The Bulls don't have a lot of draft capital. The Bulls have not been extremely successful over the last decade plus, and I don't see this organization getting any better anytime soon until they land a blue chip prospect talent, and that might just have to come in the lottery, hopefully in a couple years from now. But Bulls fans and NBA fans, please let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys make about the Chicago Bulls going into this season, and do you think that this team can even be remotely competitive in a very weak Eastern Conference? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you guys do appreciate this type of work and coverage from me, just please make sure you guys go ahead and like, share, and subscribe down below. It helps me and the channel out tremendously, and I do appreciate all of your guys' continuous support. It doesn't go unnoticed. But thank you once again, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.